What's going on, everyone? Welcome along to AFC Game by Game, and the transfer window has just slammed shut. It's 11 PM here. Leaving this transfer window with a lot of mixed feelings, to be honest. It's been a really weird deadline day for an Arsenal fan. Of course, we've seen the supposed acquisition of Danny Welbeck. Nothing's been confirmed, but by the time I've uploaded this video, hopefully he'll be confirmed as an Arsenal player. But I still feel that there are a lot of issues that we haven't addressed. For example, we haven't bought in a centre-back, considering that we'd lost Thomas Vermaelen to Barcelona. As well as that, we haven't bought in that centre defensive midfielder that we craved so much this summer. And after being sold what I would regard as false hopes, considering the likes of we were being linked with Carvalho, Khedira and Kondogbia. Those were the big three names that we were linked with throughout summer. And we haven't been able to acquire the services of either of those three players. It's disappointing, to say the least. It really is disappointing. And the most frustrating thing about it is that we're always one or two players short of having a complete full-strength squad. And we're in the exact same situation again. The fact we haven't brought in a defensive midfielder, and we're now relying on Flamini and Arteta till January at least. And then we're in the same problem again, because who's going to be realistically available in January that we can bring in? It's going to take a miracle to get someone in then. But relying on Arteta and Flamini, you know, we probably should have seen this coming when Arteta was handed the captaincy. Got nothing against the guy, technically a very gifted player, but quite frankly his legs have gone from the game and he can't keep up with the pace of it. Flamini, we saw against Leicester that he's not up to scratch. That was evident in the fact that he was leaving gaping holes in the midfield and kept dropping in between the two centre-backs, leaving that whole midfield space so unoccupied. And you wouldn't really expect it from an experienced player like himself. But unfortunately, we haven't brought in a proper defensive midfielder, which is going to be where we lose the title this season. I'll say it now because when we look at this again in a couple of months' time, when we could well have suffered negative defeats to the likes of Chelsea and City, the game will be lost in midfield, plain and simple. When you've got players like Yaya Toure, Fernando, Fernandinho, David Silva all running at you, and your protection of the back four is Mikel Arteta or Mathieu Flamini, can you really expect that calibre of player to stop the opposition? I mean, Mikel Arteta, I love the guy to bits, and I love Flamini as well. I love his passion and drive for the side, but I want what's best for Arsenal Football Club, and that again is what's frustrating, because we want the best for our team, and we're not going to get that. And the fact that Wenger has had the whole summer to bring these players in, you know, and we're quibbling over wages with the likes of Khedira when we've got the money there, it frustrates the hell out of me. And you know, bringing in Danny Welbeck, I'll get onto this now. Really, really weird signing with Falcao going to Man United. I mean, that's really disappointing as well that Falcao's gone to United when we were linked with him so heavily this summer. Him, Cavani, Jackson Martinez linked with all those typical names this summer, but then we end up with Danny Welbeck. It's really underwhelming to say the least, to be honest. And I'd have been happy with Remy. Going to go to my grave not knowing why we didn't go in for Remy. I think you're never going to find a player of his calibre around the 8 million mark. I think Chelsea have got a bargain on their hands there. I still think it's ludicrous that we haven't gone in for him. But you know, he's going to play second fiddle to Drogba and Costa, whereas he could have been playing first team football at Arsenal. But as we always do, we moved far too late. Apparently we made a load of really late deals as well, which I was hearing, and we made some really shock bids for the likes of Royce, which were, you know, obviously turned down immediately. But yeah, Danny Welbeck's incredibly underwhelmed. I mean, I think this guy could slot into our team really well. He's obviously better than Sanogo. That's not to disrespect Sanogo whatsoever, but I don't think Sanogo should be put in a situation where he's having to be our first choice and our spearhead for a good couple of months, whereas Danny Welbeck's going to come in, relish the opportunity, give everything for the team. Absolute workhorse like Alexis Sanchez, going to track back really well, but he's got to be, you know, he's got to make a name for himself at Arsenal Football Club. He's got to be that certified striker, and hopefully a couple of months down the line when Giroud is back, we'll have a nice healthy competition between those two, and hopefully Sanogo will have made a bit more about himself, and hopefully he'll have improved. But you know, it's a decent signing for 16 million. I think it's a smart investment. But just looking at some of the other strikers that we could have had this summer, the likes of Mandzukic, the likes of Remy, the likes of Costa, the likes of Balotelli, you know, I'm going to look at that. I'm just thinking, why haven't we brought these players in? What, are these players not good enough for Arsenal? We should have been bringing them in. But, you know, when you look at the money we've recouped this summer, not from just the Champions League qualification, but also from money that we've got from other deals, such as the Carlos Villa deal, we've actually not spent all that much. When you look at Ospina, Chambers, Debuchy, those are 3 players that were replacements. Forget them being additions, they are replacements for players that have lost, where we've lost Fabianski, Vermaelen and Sagna. And we still need a centre-back because we lost Carl Jenkinson on loan. And the only real addition that we've made is Alexis Sanchez, and arguably that's in a position where we didn't even need strengthening on the flanks. But I'm hoping that when Welbeck comes into the team, we'll see Walker on the right, Sanchez on the left, and Welbeck up front, which is quite a scary counter-attack, to be fair, and well, not just counter-attack, but a scary attack in general, because those players running at you, which are full of pace, energy, and with Sanchez and Welbeck especially, full of strength and power, so that's going to be good. And at least Welbeck has that physical presence that we've lacked, you know, because Sanogo, big guy, but clumsy as hell, and Giroud, you know, hang on, let's just put things into perspective for a moment. If Giroud hadn't got injured, would we be in a scenario where we'd signed Welbeck, or would we be in a situation where we've actually gone and signed a defensive midfielder? Because what I'm trying to say here is, maybe if Giroud hadn't got injured, we'd have focused our attentions on bringing in someone like William Carvalho, which obviously faded away, but maybe that would have happened. I mean, I'm really disappointed that Giroud got injured, because I think it could have been a huge season for him. Obviously, that's not going to happen now, and hopefully it'll be a big season for Welbeck for us, because obviously you've got to assume that he's going to fill in as that main striker. And it does annoy me a bit that Wenger stated that Sanchez came to Arsenal to play as a striker, and then he plays him out wide against Leicester with Sanogo through the middle. I don't understand the logic behind that whatsoever, but I think there is a little bit of false hope intended here. I don't want to lay into Wenger at all. I love the guy. I think the things he's done at his club is magnificent, but his stubbornness is ridiculous at times. That's been proven this window. We needed a defensive midfielder, and I love how he, you know, trusts his players and loves his players. He wants every single player to do well. You know, that's been proven with the likes of Sanogo, and obviously giving Arteta the captaincy. But you know, there comes a point where you've got to say, look, Arsene, these players are past it. They're not good enough. We want what's best for the club. It's not working. Stop persisting with it. It's a bit like playing Ozil out on the left. Why is that being persisted with? You know, just do what's best for the club. And I honestly think in this situation that we're in now, thank God we brought Welbeck in, because otherwise we would be in, you know, a really piss poor scenario. But you know, even that's not confirmed yet. So if we don't get him, we are in trouble, because we've got no proper out and out striker apart from Sanogo then. But it's hard to say. I can't say we're going to win the league this season, because we haven't got the power and battle in midfield. What springs to mind in my head is that maybe we should put Wilshere or Chambers in that centre defensive midfielder. I mean, it wouldn't work for them, or it might work for them. I don't know what I'm saying here, but it could work for someone like Chambers, who has that kind of big build and physical presence. Maybe not so for Wilshere, because he's most prolific in that attacking midfield role, but either that, or we revert to a formation which doesn't require centre defensive midfielders. You know, that could always be an option. But I think this 4-1-4-1 thing, I don't think that's working as well, because that leaves incredibly exposed in the middle of the park, and it just allows for more attacking players, which is great on the counter and great going forward. But when teams are coming against us, when we play City in 2 weeks' time, you will see that exposed then. I guarantee that. But those have been basically my thoughts on Arsenal's transfer window, and in a sense, my disappointment, I want to say this looked like a good window, but if quite frankly, it's ended very lacklustre. It looked really good at the start when we brought in all those players in July. We got our main business done then, but obviously the intentions weren't out there to go and bring in a defensive midfielder. You know, bit of a panic buy with Welbeck, but we needed someone to fill in that striking role. Still don't know why we haven't gone for Remy or any other striker for that matter, but hopefully Welbeck will do a job. I've got faith in the guy. I'm not going to judge him on a couple of poor performances from United, but I'm hoping he'll do well. I think he'll work with our system. I know a lot of United fans rate him, so hopefully he'll come in. But I am a bit envious of United getting Falcao as well. That annoys me. I know they're paying 24 million on him. I can understand why we haven't gone in for it. I mean, we're meant to be a model club that, you know, we're not going to pay 350 grand for a striker, which 350 grand a week for a striker that they're paying, and then I read someone that they're paying 1.2 million on wages alone per week on the likes of Rooney, Van Persie, Di Maria, etc. I wouldn't want us doing that, because we're a model club, but with United, where they've got money, they can just piss up the wall, you know. Why not go for it? Falcao's going to be a revelation of that club. I know he's only there for a season, but you know, United, they're showing their intentions that they want to get top four, and they're desperate to get top four. They'll do anything to do it. Falcao's a player that could do it all on his own. He's a fantastic acquisition for them. But let's hope Welbeck does a job for us. these have been my thoughts on the transfer window. Please leave your thoughts in the comments box below, whether you regard it as a successful transfer window, and also, rate this window out of 10, whether you think it's been a success or not. Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 on how good you think it's been. Anyway, guys, those have been my thoughts. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game, also Arsenal Fan TV. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys.